remember my first weekend hosting at Yucks. It was like Friday night or Saturday night, one or the other. And, I got up there and I'm doing my material or whatever, and I'm just doing okay. And, but well below my standard. And I remember Mark was there. He was watching and he said, you know what, Quinn, I want you to try something for me. And I was like, what's that? And he goes, I don't want you to do any material. I was like, what, are you kidding me? Because we clutch, we hang on to, that's our crack, right? I arm myself with material before I get on stage. And he goes, yeah, I think you're forgetting something. You're the host and you're not a comedian on the show. Excuse me? Yeah, you're not a comedian on the show. You're presenting the show. So I don't want you to do any material. And that changed the game for me, because that second show, I blew the room apart. I was just like, why didn't I think of this? And he goes, well, this is what it is. Material is what you glue yourself to. You love your material, you hang on to it. Stage, material, they go hand in hand, but not when you're hosting. When you're hosting, you got a different aspect. You got to show the people here that this is the best show they're going to see. And you have to big that up. And I learned that from Peter Anthony, who was like, listen, because when Mark taught me that, a lot of the other shows I had hosted after that, I would do way better than the show. And there were comics that hated it. It was great because everyone's laughing, but it wasn't them. And it became a reverse show. It's kind of like watching TV and saying to yourself, oh, great, the commercials are on. You'd never say that. You're like, no, I want to watch the show. The commercials are on. I'm going to go whatever. The opposite. When the host was getting back on, people would be like, yo, the host is getting back on. And they weren't excited for the show.
They go for a smoke when the act comes on.
100%. 100%. And
that was always the best tell.
And it was Peter Anthony that said to me, he said, no, Quinn, what you have to do is you have to channel that energy to everybody on the show. And I was like, I can't just bask in it. And he's like, no, you can't. And that changed the game for me. Those are the two people and two moments that I credit hosting to. And that's why I think I developed as a host. Those are two big reasons as to why I developed as a host. But I remember Peter saying that. So he's like, yo, are you having a good time? And people are always going to say they're having a good time when I say it and I'm doing good on stage. Then if you love me, you're really going to love this next guy. I look up to him. This guy is so incredible. He's one of my favorites. You have to say that. And then that energy goes, well, I already trust the host.
Yeah.
I'll trust this guy.
Exactly. It just carries right over.
You get what I'm saying. So that was where I learned it from, really. So,
No, man, that's incredible advice too, to just like break away from the material. I found that, like the hard way of like, I started hosting weddings. And so like, I'm not going to be, it's a wedding. Like they don't want to hear my dick joke. And like, they don't want to hear any of that shit. They just want me to be engaging with them. Right. Like they just want me to be pointing stuff out that's happening in the room and telling them what's coming up next. And, hey, look over here. And this is what we're going to be doing. And really just building that muscle is so hugely important if you're a stand-up comedian.
Absolutely.
I don't know how many comedians are listening to this, but if you are, there's some free advice for you.
Most likely not.
Most likely not.
They'll get in your
Who
DMs.
knows? Maybe there's an up and comer
podcast again. That was a huge one for me. That one it changed the game because you could take that anywhere. There's somebody in the audience who's wearing a stupid hat because they're getting married next weekend and this is their bachelorette or this is their bachelor party or whatever. You have to say something about that. There are people who came from out of town. There are people who are purposely sitting in the front row like, say something to me. Right?
There's those tensions who want it.
The host is supposed to say it, not the comedian. The comedian's there presenting his jokes. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit, it's a lot of fun. I like hosting as much as I love doing stand-up.
Yeah. You've been listening to The Johnny Rogers Show. New episodes air every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.